5 people survived the Atlantic only to die moments after being rescued. In January of 1865, the brigantine Cherokee wrecked among the ledges and islands off southwest Nova Scotia. Local men risked their lives to save those trapped aboard. But for some of the survivors, rescue came too late. This is the story of Cherokee. It was January of 1865. The brigantine Cherokee, commanded by Captain Ambrose Dunlap, departed Boston bound for Liverpool, Nova Scotia. Her cargo was ordinary enough, flour and apples. Nothing suggested that within days she would become one of the most tragic winter wrecks along Nova Scotia's coast. By January 20th, a heavy snowstorm had settled over the region. Visibility disappeared. Sea and sky blended into a wall of blowing snow. The following day, under heavy seas and near whiteout conditions, Cherokee struck Soldier's Ledge near the Tusket Islands. The impact was devastating. A hole was torn into the vessel's bottom, and she quickly became bilged. But the worst damage was still to come. The shock of the collision snapped the mast. As it crashed down, it smashed lifeboats, leaving those aboard with no means of escape. For 2 days, the damaged vessel drifted helplessly. Each wave drove her further toward destruction. Then she struck again, this time on John's Island ledge. The battered hull could take no more. Eventually, the bottom separated from the deck itself. The deck, carrying crew and passengers, drifted free into the bay. Imagine the scene. Winter wind, freezing spray, a broken section of deck serving as a makeshift raft. Men, women, and children clinging to it while the Atlantic carried them wherever it pleased. Near Green Island, the drifting wreckage was finally spotted from Clark's Harbour. The people on shore immediately understood what they were seeing. This was not a vessel in distress. It was the last remains of a vessel already lost. Without hesitation, local men launched the boat into dangerous winter seas. Their mission was simple: reach the survivors before the cold killed them. The rescue itself was extraordinarily difficult. The survivors had endured days of exposure. Many were already suffering from severe hypothermia and frostbite. 12 people were taken from the drifting wreckage. But even as the rescue boat headed toward shore, tragedy continued. Mrs. Eliza Daly and her grandchild died aboard the rescue boat. Her daughter, Mrs. Sarah Gooder, survived long enough to reach land, but died shortly afterward. Then came perhaps the saddest loss of all. Her husband, John Alexander, learned that his wife had died. Exhausted after the ordeal and overwhelmed by grief, he collapsed and died soon afterward. Others survived, though not without injury. Lathrop Doggett of White Point and Charles Ritchie suffered severe freezing injuries to their hands and feet. William Annis, Edmund Williams, Stuart Nickerson, David Lloyd, Captain Dunlap, and the mate, Mr. Annis, also suffered from exposure. Their survival owed everything to the men of Clark's Harbour who had ventured into dangerous seas to save strangers. Along Nova Scotia's coast, many shipwreck stories are remembered for the vessels that were lost. But the story of Cherokee is remembered for something else. For a drifting deck carrying desperate survivors through snow and freezing spray. For the men who launched a rescue boat when others might have stayed ashore. And for a family torn apart by a winter storm. In the end, Cherokee carried flour and apples, but the story she left behind was one of courage, sacrifice, and heartbreak on the edge of the Atlantic. Until next time, stay curious.